Hello, I'm Soda. Welcome to my sketchbook tour. Within this sketchbook, there will be depictions of both cartoon-like and semi-realistic blood and horror. If that's not your vibe, I would suggest you tune out now. First off, we have my plush bunnies, Rem and Rascal. They're two little weirdos in love. Their first concepts together were based on more devilish and angelic personalities, so I like to costume them as such occasionally. Some color pencil sketches. We have Maybelle from Hairspray, though you may not be able to see it very clearly on the camera. And Katrina from Vamp. This zombie guy. He's more of a one-off character, though I do plan on pairing him with a vampire character down the road. I quite like his color palette, though. I may want to find more ways to use similar colors. They do kind of remind me of Scooby-Doo. Then we have Ophelia, who refused to be drawn for so long. This is an alternate design to what he is meant to usually look like. His original concept is more feminine outside of work, where he otherwise is wrapped up in a lab coat and easy to move in very basic clothing. I'm very content with how this piece came out, though. I brought up a lot of the watercolor to the front for mostly his skin tone. And this is really my first real attempt at drawing and designing armor. I try to keep the theme mostly warm tones and the sort of tendon-like look to the military skirt. All the bubbly textures around him, I actually had mixed soap and watercolor and got all the bubbles moving across, which took a lot of layers, but it was really fun to do. Then we have Sadako from Silent Hill F. Not Sadako, Sakako. Then we have Moromi from Paranoia Agent. Took quite a few breaks in between episodes of this anime. I really had to digest each piece. It starts off as something more paranormal, however, it transitions to one of my favorite tropes in horror. I won't say too much. I don't want to potentially spoil it. This is a much brighter color palette to the show. Most of the drawings I did during my birth month, so tend to make a lot of changes to how I usually do things. I've been particularly loving these kinds of shades of blue, though. You might notice how much it pops up. I've been getting more into ballpoint sketching. I wanted to focus on something more exaggerated here, which is a feature I admire in art in general and something I would like to do, to incorporate more in my own art. The masks from the comics especially feature such large cartoonist features. I haven't really had a chance to read them. I would be interested in reading some of them in the future. I have seen images here and there, mainly the covers, of how absolutely insane these expressions and angles of the mask. I've always found them to be pretty eye-catching. The simple redesign of Otomachi Yuna. She's one of my favorite voice banks from Vocaloid, but I've always found her original design clunky, personally. All the various shades of blue and purple swallow up what is meant to be red and gold accents. I can't say I like how many little details are put on such a small frame. I didn't do much then take away elements until it was something more comfortable to my style. more of a fanloid design I've yet to name. I based her off of bits and pieces of Minhara fashion. This syringe is more for oral medication. I do want to adjust her color palette. It's hard to convey the feeling I want the colors to give, but it may help to also change the design of the outfit itself. Emery, my old man vampire. He's dramatic, and he knows it. I enjoy drawing him, and I look forward to drawing him more in the future, including really ironing out his whole look. This is a redraw from a really old sketchbook at this point. I like to do redraws to gauge how much I've improved and see if there's anything I can really earn from practicing further. This yellow and green to blue. Here's where I started to do more crazy colors for highlights in this secondary style of mine. Then we have Krona, my favorite character from Soul Eater for no obvious reasons. The contrast here is weak. That is something I'd like to improve on being more consistent with. But I really like how they came out here. Another ballpoint sketch. I evidently messed up very badly sketching in pencil beforehand and just had to cover it up. This was a statue with snakes. Mostly coming from the back from what I remember. This painting was inspired by No, I'm Not Human. I really am in love with how many references they use to create such uncanny looks and vibes to each character. I wanted to invoke a similar vibe to that, not so much the values and hues of the game itself. This was my first piece playing with my Winsor & Newton Cotman watercolors. It was a relief to use watercolors that I could actually lift from the paper. Over here, I was doing some studies of textures. The theme was more so bloody and consuming. This middle section is a study of just raw meat. Blood splattered on pigskin, a matte blood bag, some meat pie. These two are kind of obvious. This is a pluot. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but it's a hybrid between a plum and apricot. I was trying to look for like more meaty kind of textured fruits, and this came up. I really liked the speckled look of the outside of the fruit and how juicy the inside looked. This particularly bright color. Then a pig's ear, and then I was running out of ideas because this was probably right in the middle of my just 31 days of trying to do a full color piece. Not full color, just a finished piece. Then our last drawing, which was actually the first drawing I did of the sketchbook, which was a redraw that I've actually been more consistent with redrawing. The first drawing that in this line of redraws is where I really fell in love with bright greens. And then I love how like not neon, just very, very bright colors to neon contrast with blacks and grays. That's the end of this sketchbook, but there are some loose drawings I'd like to share. First off, we have Fallon from Dungeon Meshi. I really like her chimera design and how it's all this monstrosity, creature, unfamiliar disturbing things surrounding such a familiar figure to those in the show. And then the back is just colored red. Then we have Me Too from Anna Jane Barbecue. When I do fan art of characters, I tend to draw them pretty close to their original design first, and then work towards into my style, which I really liked bringing up more of the teal in this one. I don't think I got the teal as much in this one because I colored a lot of this with all these like pinks and purples, so I probably had to try and find the blue within, but green popped out instead. And then Tasky Maiden. I really like how the magenta did pop through this one, through all the layers. It kind of looks like a color filter. I'll actually start with this one. This is a OC for Anna Jane Barbecue based off of Beyond Leon and Gesture Costuming. Beyond Leon is a Chinese opera which focuses on its face-changing aspect. So if any are familiar with Ketamano from Poppy the Performer, that's a similar concept. But I would like to, it's like the same thing with exaggeration. Like pushing shapes more helps with creating a dramatic atmosphere. And then this is what I like to call an elusive clown of whimsy. Elusive clown for short. They just like to wander around. I would like to do a small series with this kind of character. I like to think they're like a little species. Then finally getting to this one. Titled, Do You See It Too? This is a reference off of a photo I took and a nightmare I actually had where someone had an eyeball peeking at the back of their throat, just watching. Color pencil is actually where I started my art journey with traditional mediums. And I had to draw back from them quite a lot because it was really tough on my wrist and really time consuming, but even being able to do this small portion is really rewarding to me. I really like how this piece came out. And surrounding it is more watercolor, done layered in broad strokes. And finally, this is where we reach the end of our little tour. There are some pages I skipped over, most of which can be found on my other accounts, linked below. Thank you so much for watching. If you would, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Until then, see you next time, because there will be a next time. Bye-bye.